In today's episode of Audit Austin Code Compliance, let's bring in another city department. Let's talk about the Austin Fire Department. The Austin Fire Department has a very big problem with pulling permits to get work done. And isn't it ironic that the fire department is supposed to ensure the public safety? They have their own inspection process, but when it comes to their own properties, the senior management looks the other way and violates the city's codes and often has work done without permits. Why? They don't want to pay the permit fee. Some people at the Austin Fire Department, Chief Kerr, Chief Fowler, believe they are above the law. Let's take a few minutes and look at Fire Station number 22. On July the 8th of 2014, I stopped by this fire station because I found out that they were doing work without a permit. Well, the firefighters weren't. They were actually moved to another fire station. But the City of Austin Building Services, and more importantly, the fire department, hired a contractor to get in here and rewire this building, and they didn't pull a single permit. Let me show you this video.
It's Tuesday, July the 8th, here in Austin, Texas. We're at fire station number 22, and the crew is gone. You can see the parking lot is empty. And the crew is gone because the City of Austin is doing electrical work at this location. But they don't have any permits. We're at 5309 East Riverside Drive. We've got some trucks out here. I'm going to pose to somebody who's bringing a bunch of kids in for a tour today. We have facility solution groups, lighting, electrical, energy, technology signs. You can see their trucks are out front here. But the fire trucks are gone. There's no fire trucks here. We'll go inside and see what we can't figure out. Hello? Where are the guys at?
The station's closed down for the week.
For the week?
Yes, sir.
We're supposed to have a bunch of kids come and do a tour today. That ain't happening, huh?
No, sir. Yeah, there's no power over here at all.
Okay, so rewiring the whole building or something?
Yeah, we're just upgrading their electrical service.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll let them know. I guess we'll go find another fire station.
Yeah, I don't remember where they. One's off of Brody. They moved one of these engines to Brody and one of them somewhere else.
Okay. All right. Thanks, guys.
So as you can clearly see in the previous video, the city hired a company to come in and bring in a brand new electrical service and didn't bother to get any permits for it. Evidently, they're above the law. Actually, they're not. So what was the next step was to post this video on Facebook and then send an email to the city staff and remind them that they have to get permits. Let's take a look at that email. So here's the email I sent. I was at the fire station 22 in the morning filming. I came home, uploaded the video to Facebook, as you can see in a highlighted hyperlink down below, and sent this email off at 12:40 p.m. And the first person I sent it to was Doug Fowler, Assistant Chief Doug Fowler, Assistant Chief Harry Evans, and Miss Rhoda Mae Kerr. Lee Leffingwell is the city mayor, the city manager Mark Ott, the Code Compliance Division Manager Carl Smart, and Todd Wilcox, the Assistant Division Manager who handles all the fire station complaints. And there had been many. We thought we'd address this. KXAN had done a story, but yet the city continues to do work without a permits. So what happened next? All right, let's take a look at the city's website. And you can actually look up an address and see what permits have been pulled for that address. And so we're looking at 5309 East Riverside Drive. And we're going to go back to, it starts on today's date, which is March the 2nd. So I'm asking for March the 2nd of 2014 through March the 2nd of 2016. Let's see what we come up with. We hit submit, and here's a list of permits here. There are 4 permits listed, and there's an electrical permit here from 2014. This is the one that they had to go run and get. You can see it's 2014-07-2311 EP. Replace the existing 400 amp panel and 100 amp panel. 5309 East Riverside Drive. The application date was July the 10th. Again, my video and email was on July the 8th. They did not stop work. Code department did not go over there and shut them down like they normally would anybody else. They let them continue the work. They applied for a permit on the 10th. It was issued on the 10th. And it was closed out on July the 11th, the very next day. Normally there's a review of plans and things, but that didn't happen. They paid a $90 fee, a $10 fee, a $135 fee, and a $9.40 fee. And an inspector went out there, James Smith, was out there on July the 11th and said everything is fine. So what did the code department do? The code department was made aware that people were out there working without a permit. How did the code department handle this? Let's take a look at the code file. So this is how Todd Wilcox handled the complaint. He was copied, as well as the director of code, the fire chief, on July the 8th of 2014. The city's official record shows the complaint date was July the 11th, 2014, not July the 8th. It does correctly assume that it's Fire Station 22 working without a permit. They assign on July the 11th Matthew Noriega, and it's transferred to Todd Wilcox on July the 15th. Look here, it wasn't until August the 7th of 2014 that Todd says he checked for the permits at this location. An electrical permit was pulled to perform a panel and service upgrade. The permit has passed to final. He talks about the permit number and what work was being done here. He says a permit was obtained for electrical service and it's passed an inspection. He's taken a photo. Here's the killer. On 9/16, Todd Wilcox said it was closed due to voluntary compliance, that this folder was inadvertently created. No violation for work without a permit was observed during inspection on September the 10th of 2014. Of course not. The work was done in July. The code department will wait months and months before they investigate a complaint on a City of Austin property, even after having video. And they will give the City of Austin a clean bill of health. It is the City of Austin Code Department and the City of Austin Fire Department who continually violate the city's codes and cover each other's back. And who's at the top of this for the City of Austin Fire Department? That's going to be Chief Kerr and Chief Doug Fowler. Did it stop here? Nope. Let's look at the roofing permits, or the lack thereof. This is a video of Fire Station 22, an aerial photograph captured from Google Earth on October the 31st of 2013. Okay? This is the same fire station roughly a year later on October the 2nd, 2014. Notice the stripe pattern on the roof here. Now what you've noticed that the roof has been completely redone. This photo was taken July the 13th of 2015. This building got a new roof. So once again, let's take a look at the permits for 5309 East Riverside Drive. The date range is going to be March 2nd, 2014 through March 2nd, 2016. Let's take a look at those permits. Let me zoom in so you can see these a little bit better. There's the electrical permit For the panel upgrades in 2014 and 2015, there's an electrical permit for a new electrical outlet for a dryer. 2016, there's a planning review permit and a building permit that deal with the cellular communication towers. There is no permit for any commercial roofing job here. You would have thought the city would have learned back in 2014 that they had to get the permits, but again, the leadership at the fire department, Doug Fowler, Chief Kerr, are arrogant enough to think they're just going to keep on doing it because no one's going to call them on it. After all, code department's got their back. Let's look at the invoices. Okay, this invoice is kind of hard to read, but it says Fire Station 22, recover the existing roof system. Work completed on 10/17 of 2014. So this is literally just a few months after they got caught doing electrical work without a permit, and they hired a contractor and spent $68,822. The city of Austin, just a few months after they got caught doing electrical work, hired a contractor and spent $68,822 to put a new roof on Fire Station 22. Here's the purchase order number. Here's the photograph. 10/2/2014. Next photo, brand new roof. Of course, this photo was taken almost a year later. So this photo was taken 10/2/14, and you can see right here, work completed 10/17/14. Just a few days after that photo was taken, they got up there and slapped on a new roof and didn't bother to get a permit for it. So everybody knows there's corruption inside of city government. City leaders will look the other way and do things that they would require business owners to do. So why is it important that we have permits? Well, it's important because this contractor did work. He put on a roof for $68,000, and if you look at this permit right here, this invoice right here, they went back to Fire Station 22 and had to fix the roof that they had just put on just a few months later. Within 6 months, this same contractor came back and billed the city $8,536 for roof repairs on a building that they just got done invoicing the city $68,822 on. This is why you need to pull permits, ladies and gentlemen. This is why it needs to be inspected. You've got contractors out there that are doing perhaps shoddy work and then turning around and billing the citizens another $8,000 for work that was never inspected. And whose responsibility is it to pull these permits? So it's very simple with open records request to pull up a contract for any vendor working for the city of Austin. And LD Tevin Company, Ontario Lane in Austin, has a contract with the city. It is 113 pages long. We're going to zoom to page number 36. And here we're going to see the requirements for permitting. It says the city shall be responsible for obtaining any and all permits for repairs, re-roofs as required to fulfill this contract, and shall comply with all laws, ordinances, rules, and regulations of the jurisdiction in which the work may be performed. And the reason that's said is we have fire stations that are physically outside of the city limits, outside in the county, and we would have to get permits for that county. But face it, the city doesn't get permits for rewiring an electrical building, putting all new service in, putting a roof on a building. If you would have had that permit, then it would have been inspected and you wouldn't have been billed another $8,000 6 months later for shoddy work. This is why we need a strong code department, and the problem really lies in with the fire department's hierarchy, because they will look the other way and allow this to happen because it's money out of their budget if they have to get a permit. Not realizing that how many times in my career, 28 and a half years with the fire service, did some contractor come do work, and then the next rain, we had more water coming in off the roof. And it's not roofing, it's electrical, it's plumbing, it's rampant, it's everywhere. But the Austin Code Department, as well as the Austin Fire Department, looks the other way and allows contractors to perform work on City of Austin properties without the proper inspections because they don't want to pay the permitting fee. So perhaps you're wondering if this is just an isolated incident. No, it's not. Here is a short summary. I went down and had them pull the work for this contractor for the last couple of months. And you can see that at Fire Station number 5 at 1201 Weberville Road, they put a roof on for $97,600. That was the cost of a roof for a fire station. This is just taking gravel off and putting in a membrane roof. No permits. At 201 Chacon Street, Fire Station number 7, $65,000, $395. No permits. 6601 Manchac Road, Fire Station 20, $21,630. No permits. Fire Station 22, this is the example I showed you, $68,822 on 10/17 of 14, and then on 4/22 of 15, they had an $8,536 repair. On Knuckles Crossing, it was $11,199. On Fire Station 31 on 2222, it was $19,000. The radio shop on 1006 Smith School Road, a huge building. The city spent $179,867 for a new roof on that building. No permits. No permits, no inspections. Just in the one box of papers that I looked through, I was able to find, and of course I was just concentrating on fire stations. There are other city buildings as well. 8 buildings, a total of $472,411, and 8 incidences of work without any permits. The City of Austin Fire Department, Doug Fowler knows better, but Doug Fowler is willing to look the other way to save his department from having to pay the permit fees and perhaps letting a contractor do shoddy work. Like we can see at Fire Station 22, 6 months after the job, and the city fleshed out another $8,000 of our taxpayer money. And what did Code do? They didn't do anything. This is a corrupt city government. This needs to end. This is Todd Wilcox. He's the guy from Code Department. He's an assistant division manager. Started off as a pretty nice guy, but he drank the Kool-Aid and fell in with the company line by investigating fire stations. They basically gave them all to him to handle. They're supposed to comply within 90 days, and they don't. Sometimes Todd will wait 60 days. Before he comes by, he gives them a heads up. Hey, I'm coming by, and they clean everything up. Or Todd just does a very poor job of documenting. You can see another video on YouTube. Look up Austin Code Todd Wilcox, and you'll run into this one here when it's, again, another fire station with bad electrical work. And then the training division that put in an illegal drying room. They had a washing and drying room. Great video, kind of long, but again, it shows you that the Austin Fire Department, the leadership of the fire department, Rhoda Kerr and Doug Fowler, the extent to which they will go to avoid having to obey the city's codes in getting permits, and the extent to which the Austin Code Department, but it's not only the fire department, it's the police department. There are 40 code violations at the Code Department that have been outstanding for over a year now. They've just closed the cases. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're from the FBI or the Texas Department of Public Safety, I've got all the documentation. Let's sit down and talk about corruption inside of city government. Let's hold the fire chief and the code director and the city manager responsible. Thank you for your time.